Yes, we are back. Welcome to the Good Game Podcast. I am your host, A1K, and you have made it to episode number 8 of the Good Game Podcast. And we got a lot to get into on this episode. But before I get started, let me ask a favor real quick. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Good Game Podcast. We're going to have episodes coming at you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And make sure you share the video with a friend. Also, if you're listening to us on Spotify, follow us on Spotify at the Good Game Podcast. A lot of good episodes coming to you guys. Yes, that's right. 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we drop a new episode. And you could be part of the Good Game Podcast. Don't miss any of this good game. It's a lot of good games we're going to be discussing. A lot of sports and entertainment related topics we're going to get into today. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Our first topic of the day. A little boxing talk. We're going to talk a little boxing today on this episode since we got a lot of fights coming up in the boxing world for the remainder of 2024. So, ranking the best 5 boxing fights in the schedule for the rest of 2024. Now, there have been some great fights this year already. One of my favorites definitely was the Tank Davis fight, and his knockout of Frank Martin definitely was a contender for a fight of the year. Also, we've had Alexander Usyk's decision victory over Tyson Fury to become the first undisputed heavyweight champion in the 4-belt era. And we got to just clap it up for him one time for becoming the first undisputed heavyweight champion in the 4-belt era. Also, the next few months are full with matchups that could eclipse even those big moments. There's a couple of fights we're going to get into and looking forward to seeing in the coming months. Number 1 on the list is Arthur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Excuse me if I'm not pronouncing the names correctly, but I will try to do my best. So these two rival light heavyweight champions may have lower profiles than the likes of Alvarez and Tyson Fury, but fight fans are pretty familiar with these two names. We've waited a long time to get this fight set up because Beterbiev suffered a ruptured meniscus during his training. And that's very unfortunate. Whenever a fighter suffers an injury that's training related, usually it's something that is unforeseen and couldn't be prevented, because these guys usually have world-class trainers who have them doing workouts where they won't injure themselves. But these things happen, in the world of sports. So it's very unfortunate that happened. But he is presumed to be healed and healthy now. So Bivol will go into the fight full of confidence after registering his first stoppage win in 10 fights, a 6-round TKO over Malik Zinad in June. Now, the first time I saw Dmitry Bivol fight was his fight against Canelo about a year or so back, and I thought it was a good fight. A lot of people thought that it should have been a draw or even that Canelo should have won the fight, but he was one of the few people to actually hand Canelo Alvarez a loss on his professional record. Granted, Canelo Alvarez had to step up in weight class, and some people look at that as a factor. But all in all, whenever you get a decision victory in a fight against someone like Canelo Alvarez's caliber, you have to be commended and taken as a serious competitor. And Bivol, he's somebody who his boxing style is very, very sharpened and he's very professional in his movements, and he knows what he's trying to do in that boxing ring. So it'll be interesting to watch him fight. Although Beterbiev is 20-0 with 20 knockouts. So, 100% knockout machine, just incredible. He knocks guys out. That's what he does. So in 20 fights, he's gotten 20 knockouts. So these two guys are definitely going to be going at each other. I don't suspect it'll go the full 12 rounds, but if it does, it'll definitely be a close decision. I don't know. If I had to pick, I would definitely pick Bivol to be If he doesn't win, he probably won't get knocked out. He'll probably be the only victory on Beterbiev's record that isn't a knockout. But yes, so that fight will be October 12th, and it'll be fun to watch. Also, we also have Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury 2, December 21st. And this will be the rematch from the previous fight these two had. Usyk almost stopped Fury in round 9 of their undisputed heavyweight title clash in December. And it'll be interesting to see how the rematch in Saudi Arabia will go. Alexander Usyk, 22-0 with 14 KOs. Will he be able to one-up Tyson Fury yet again? Or will Tyson Fury, 34-1-1 with 24 KOs, devise a strategy that will get him revenge against Alexander Usyk? Tyson Fury is 36 years old, a very clever fighter, knows how to make the adjustments he needs to while in the ring. Remember, he was winning the fight at the halfway point when Usyk, 37, began to have success. This could be Alexander Usyk's last fight at heavyweight. Usyk has talked about heavyweight being too much of a struggle to keep weight on for, and could return to cruiserweight, a division which he reigned as undisputed champion. This could also be the last fight of Tyson Fury's career if he suffers a knockout loss. There's a lot of talk of Fury fighting English rival Anthony Joshua next May, but if he suffers a damaging loss to Usyk, his second successive defeat, he may contemplate retiring to avoid the humiliation of losing to AJ. Fury will not lack motivation or heart, but can he cope with Usyk's speed and movement? That is the question, and honestly, at this moment in time, I'm not too sure about that, folks. I think that Tyson Fury is a great fighter, definitely deserves a lot of praise, definitely has been one of the greatest heavyweights we've ever seen in the sport of boxing, has a lot of knockout power, even still, in his later stages of his career. I just think that at this point, this may be Tyson Fury's last fight. I think Alexander Usyk is just, I think he has a little bit more of an edge right now in his game. And, you know, it's going to be close. But just watching the last fight and seeing some of the highlights and rewatching it, Tyson Fury doesn't appear to be the same boxer he once was in his glory days. And I think we all know that. You know, no one can be undefeated and forever. So, and Father Time always wins. And right now we're seeing the results of that with Tyson Fury. But he still is a force to be reckoned with. He still is a physical powerhouse and a physical specimen. And I will be tuning in to watch this fight, and it'll definitely be something to watch for sure. Definitely very interesting. I couldn't pick a winner right now, honestly. I would say split decision at this point. I don't expect any knockouts or anything like that. I definitely expect the fight to go 12 rounds. If I had to pick a winner, I'm going to go ahead and go with Alexander Usyk, just because he's a little faster, a little quicker at this point in his career. And if he catches Tyson Fury enough times, he's probably going to go down and stay down. So there you have it on that. Also, a few more fights we got coming up. Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga, September 14th. And we just mentioned Canelo Alvarez earlier, definitely a defensive powerhouse. Canelo's defense of his 3 super middleweight titles at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas is not against the opponent many would have preferred. Boxing fans would have liked to see him line up against David Benavidez or even Terrence Crawford, the long-reigning welterweight champion, who just moved up in weight to win a junior middleweight belt. Berlanga started his career with 16 consecutive stoppage victories in the first round, but went 3 years without a knockout win until he knocked out McRory in February. Berlanga is younger and has power, but he does not contain the same level of threat as Canelo's recent opponents like Munguia or Jamel Charlo. Alvarez was stripped of his IBF title in July, but he remains boxing's biggest star. The 34-year-old Mexican has faced so many big names in his career, from Floyd Mayweather to Triple G. This matchup against Berlanga just doesn't excite everyone. But Canelo will be trying to pull off his first knockout win in nearly 3 years. You don't know how many more of these Canelo nights we have left, so I definitely think that this will be a fight a lot of people will be tuning in to see. how well Canelo performs against his opponent. As far as his opponent, Berlanga, although he has an impressive record of 22-0 with 17 KOs, he is the younger fighter at the age of 27, fighting a 34-year-old Canelo Alvarez. I just cannot see myself leaning against Canelo Alvarez. Until someone beats him and shows me they can do it, I'm going to probably rock with him for the time being. So this is an easy pick. I'm going to go with Canelo for the knockout, probably in round 9. I think he catches him with something he wasn't prepared for or something that he hasn't seen before. And that's just that on that. Canelo's going to get the win, knockout, probably decision, if not a decision victory, and get that money. All right, so going on to our next topic here. I got a chance to check out the 2024 UEFA Super Cup. And Real Madrid played Atalanta today. And it was a very, very interesting game to watch. I'll say this game is definitely a tale of two halves. So the first half, not really much was going on, very forgettable. A lot of just, back and forth, both teams trying to establish themselves offensively. This is a team in Real Madrid, which they just acquired Kylian Mbappe, this offseason. And this is a club that just won the European Championship. So a lot of people consider Real Madrid as the best team in the world right now today. And they definitely proved it in this game. The first half of the game started off basically a lot of, these guys trying to establish some chemistry and build some offensive continuity. And as the game started progressing, you could definitely see the talent level of this Real Madrid team is just off the charts. I mean, they have so much talent where a lot of the players who don't even start on this main team will probably have a good chance being a starting player somewhere else. But needless to say, Kylian Mbappe scored on his debut as Real Madrid beat Atalanta 2-0 to win the UEFA Super Cup on Wednesday. Uruguayan Frederic Valverde put the European champions ahead after 59 minutes from close range, and French striker Mbappe fired the ball into the top corner from Jude Bellingham's pass to double Madrid's advantage 9 minutes later. And the first goal by Valverde was basically a result of Vinicius Jr. or Vinny Jr. being able to put himself in a one-on-one position against an Atalanta defender. And most of the time, whenever Vinny Jr. is in these one-on-one positions, especially towards the later minutes of the game when the opposition is tired and fatigue starts to set in, he usually is someone who wins those one-on-one situations, and he created enough space in order to get a nice through pass off into Valverde, who was left wide open due to majority of the defense being concerned with the stars of the team being Mbappe, Rodrigo, Bellingham. Valverde was able to score a little tap-in goal based on that situation. So it was definitely fun to watch. At the 59-minute mark, I'm sure a lot of fans were wondering why this team took so long to score a goal, but as soccer, this football game, sometimes it takes a minute for guys to build that chemistry. I mean, we have to remember, this is still a team that's learning how to play with Mbappe and figuring out how to get him involved. And I think they'll figure it out. We can't expect this team to just score every 5 and 10 minutes, but they're definitely a team that's going to score some goals. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to score at least 3 to 4 goals to even have a chance to beat or compete with Real Madrid. Mbappe signed a 5-year contract with European and Spanish champions Madrid last month, joining on a free transfer from Paris Saint-Germain. Madrid's last star arrival took some time to get settled alongside his new Galactico teammates, Jude Bellingham and Vinicius Jr. But he made his mark in the second half with a blistering strike in the second half. The France international joined his new teammates in preseason training last week after representing his country at Euro 2024 this last summer, and was included in the squad for the Super Cup clash between Champions League winners Madrid and Europa League winners Atalanta in Warsaw, Poland. Madrid clinched a record 6 Super Cup crowns to move ahead of Barcelona and AC Milan, who have each won the annual match between the Champions League winners and Europa League champions 5 times. So this is a team in Real Madrid, which I definitely will be excited to watch this team going forward. A very exciting team to watch. They play very fast. Arguably one of the greatest front threes we've seen in soccer in a long time. So definitely excited to see that. Shout out to all the players of Real Madrid and Atalanta for putting up a very competitive game. Although it may not seem like it was competitive, being the final score 2-0. But that first half was very competitive, and Atalanta had a lot of attempts that could have easily turned into goals. But, I think they'll have a phenomenal season as well in their respective league. But we all know that for the time being, when it comes to La Liga, it's Real Madrid, and that's about it. So, with that being said, moving on to a little baseball news, and this is some unfortunate news. And, I hate when these type of things happen, but in sports, there are injuries, and teams have to be able to make adjustments and do what's necessary to keep moving forward. So, Yankees third baseman Jazz Chisholm Jr. likely to head to the injury list with UCL injury. And, this is just something that's very unfortunate to see. We spoke on this in a previous episode of the Good Game podcast when Jazz originally got traded to the New York Yankees. And it's just unfortunate now to see only a few weeks later he's now being injured and is questionable to return at any given time. New York Yankees third baseman Jazz Chisholm Jr. appears headed to the injured list with a left elbow injury, manager Aaron Boone said Tuesday. Chisholm, 26, has an ulnar collateral ligament injury, and Boone said he likely will end up on the IL. Boone said more physicians are evaluating the elbow and that the club should have enough information to make a decision by Wednesday. Chisholm was hurt on a head-first dive, scoring in the 5th inning of Monday's 12-2 loss to the Chicago White Sox. He left during the 7th inning and downplayed the injury after the game. Chisholm bats left-handed but throws with his right, so this is definitely an injury that we want to see him heal and come back from in a speedy amount of time. A speedy recovery is definitely a wish that we want to have for Jazz Chisholm right now. The 2022 All-Star was acquired by the Yankees from the Miami Marlins shortly before last month's trade deadline and has contributed right away, hitting .316 average with 5 homers, 13 runs, 11 RBIs, and 14 games. He is one of just 5 players in the majors this season with at least 20 home runs and 25 stolen bases. Obviously, he's been really impactful for us, Aaron Boone said. It's tough to not have him in there. I'm sure it is tough to have him not in there, but luckily, the Yankees have been able to win a few games without him. Oswaldo Cabrera started at third in Tuesday's 4-1 win in Chicago. Boone said DJ LeMahieu could also see time there if Chisholm's injuries require an IL stint. And I don't think that this injury necessarily affects the Yankees right now. I mean, they have issues outside of Jazz Chisholm, so it definitely doesn't help that he's injured. But this is a player that they want to get healthy by the time they try to make that postseason run in a few months here. So, hopefully it's not a too serious injury. It sucks to see someone get injured from when they were playing, fairly decent on a new team after being traded. So we definitely want to wish him a speedy recovery. He is a vital asset to the New York Yankees organization. Although I am a Dodgers fan, I also support players and I support good health, and I want to see the best players compete. So it makes the game better for everyone to watch. And we have another injury story here to talk about, guys. Unfortunately, it's a lot of injuries going around, but we got to break it down for y'all so y'all can be informed and know what's going on in the world of sports. Vikings J.J. McCarthy to miss 2024 season after knee surgery. J.J. McCarthy's 2024 season is over before it officially began. McCarthy, the number 10 overall pick of the April draft, will be the fourth first-round quarterback in this century who did not play in a regular season game as a rookie, joining Green Bay's Jordan Love in 2020, Washington's Jason Campbell in 2005, and Cincinnati's Carson Palmer in 2003. The Vikings drafted McCarthy as a long-term replacement for Kirk Cousins, who departed in free agency and signed with the Atlanta Falcons. But to help avoid playing McCarthy before he was ready, they signed Sam Darnold and kept Mullins on the roster. There was every indication that Darnold was on track to start Week 1 against the New York Giants, even if McCarthy were healthy. So, definitely want to wish J.J. McCarthy a speedy recovery. The Vikings are going to go with Sam Darnold to start. I believe that if Sam Darnold does play well, they're probably going to go with him moving forward, but they're going to be wishing J.J. McCarthy a speedy recovery. You hate to see somebody get drafted so early in the draft and get injured before we really get a chance to see them on the NFL stage. So we want to wish him a speedy recovery. We want to wish Jazz Chisholm Jr. a speedy recovery. Any other athletes I didn't mention on this particular podcast that are injured, a speedy recovery. And with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of the Good Game Podcast. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. We will be posting 3 episodes a week. I'm going to catch y'all next time. Peace.